Hello, my little saplings. Your normally scheduled Raven is having a sick day, so you're here with me. Today, we will be reading Sick Day by Typically Untypical, and this is a Logan-centric fic. Logan looked down at his laptop in frustration. The words seemed to swim the harder he tried to focus. Just a few more things to finish, and then I can lie down. He whispered these words to himself as he fought back a cough, ignoring how it made his throat ache. He looked back over at his to-do list. It had gotten much longer than he normally allowed, but things kept coming and he barely had the energy to keep up. Logan tried to rub his eyes, hoping that would allow him to focus on the words again. It didn't. As his glasses settled on his face, he realized that this was a pointless effort. The words were still swimming, and now his whole body was hot. Just a short rest. He stood up, but standing had also been a bad idea. The world swirled, and he fell back onto the chair. I guess I'll rest here. He knew he would not be able to sleep in his position, but he could at least regain his strength. Logan allowed himself to zone out and just sit in the chair, allowing his mind to wander through a mindless haze. He wasn't sure how long he had been sitting there, staring off into nowhere before there was a knock on his door. Logan really didn't have the energy to get up, but he would not sacrifice his dignity by allowing the others to know he was sick. He looked at the door, adjusting his tie and attempting to stand again, this time with a bit more success. Just a moment. His voice was raw, and he felt the need to cough again. But he also knew that if he slipped up, whoever was at the door would reprimand him. They would also tell him to rest until he was better. He just didn't have the time for that. Steadying himself on the door frame, Logan attempted to push back his shoulders and look put together. He was a bit surprised to see Patton, Roman, and Virgil all standing outside his room. Hello. Did I forget an appointment? He cleared his throat. Talking was a bad idea. It hurt. Don't play dumb with us, Teach. We know you're sick, Virgil said, pushing his way into the room. He took Logan by the arm and began to lead him to his bed. What gave you that idea? He couldn't fight back the cough this time and swore at his body as it betrayed him. It's not good to lie, kiddo, unless, of course, you're lying in bed to get better. And Patton brought over a thick blanket he had taken from his room. Once Virgil had Logan on the bed, Patton covered him in the blanket. You've been coughing so loudly I almost thought that you had been cursed by a dragon witch. Even if I were to have fallen ill, it wouldn't be a good idea for the three of you to be in my room. It could be detrimental to your health if you were to get sick as well. I think we will be fine, Patton said. We're just going to make sure you rest. Can't make those deadlines if you can't see them. Virgil went over to Logan's desk, looking for his to-do list and pocketing it. Why don't we go make Patient Zero some soup? He asked. Patton nodded and Roman sat down by Logan. I have been tasked with telling you a marvelous story of two princes in order to make sure you fall asleep. Roman, I am beyond the years of bedtime stories. No one is beyond the age of bedtime stories. So just lay back and let me weave my tale of a dashing young prince and his search for love. It didn't take long for Logan to fall asleep, breathing a bit heavy. Roman smiled and got up, going to get Patton for his turn to watch Sleeping Beauty. He's sound asleep. How can I help? Perfect. Thank you, Roman. Virgil has already started working on Logan's list. I'm going to go back to Logan's room and try to clean up a bit. Roman nodded, rolling up his sleeves. This will be a great challenge in assisting the nerd. Patton smiled and shook his head, making his way back to Logan's room. He had made soup and set it in the fridge. He'd reheat it when Logan woke up. But for now, he needed to make sure he could sleep. When Logan woke a few hours later, He could tell something was different, despite his glasses not being on his face. Patton? Hey, Lo, how are you feeling? Better. I can go back to work now. Patton laughed and shook his head. No, I don't think that's a good idea. How about I bring you some soup? But I have work to do. Virgil and Roman are working together to get it done for you. It's okay to ask for help, Logan. We love you, and we care about you. He could tell Patton had cleaned his room. He hadn't realized how chaotic it had become in his delirious state. But it was nice to have everything in pristine order once again. He did really think that he could get back to his work, though he desperately appreciated the help. Attempting to sit up, Logan immediately realized it was a bad idea. He fell back into his pillow, closing his eyes. Very well, he whispered. Just this once. He didn't have the energy to argue with Patton, and though he would never admit it, it was nice to have someone taking care of him. That's it for the story, and with cold, flu, and otherwise season here, remember to take care of yourselves. That was Sick Day by Typically Untypical. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope you have a wonderful day.